Showtime.
It's about that time.
Let's go.
You're right where you need to be. This is GCOM Radio.
Hardest radio station on the planet. Yeah.
Powered by Lyfeblood.com.
We certified.
And hosted by Nova Phoenix.
Give them that flavor.
What's going on? What's going on? What is going on to all my people out there that's doing their thing around the world in Africa, Europe, South America, and in America? Thank you for listening to me right now. You could be doing anything else, but you're listening to this show, GCOM Radio. I am your host, Nova Phoenix, on GCOM Radio, on iHeartRadio, and we are here once again doing our duty by bringing the information and some other thought processes and opinions and a lot of different worldviews, or my particular worldview, and bestowing it upon you. Yeah, man. So I'm glad you're here, family. I'm glad you're here listening to me talking, going about doing my thing. So, how was your week? How was your week? Hopefully, it was a beautiful thing. It was for me. I'm glad that I have another week to breathe and another day to breathe. And that is the most glorious, beautiful gift that any human being can have. Because as far as we know, we get one ride, this right here. We get one ride, and that is it. Nobody has died, saw God, and came back and was like, well, you know, God did tell me to leave you a message, y'all. And yeah, I'm going to come back as such and such, such and such. Ain't nobody done that. So we don't know what happens after this. We have no idea. So you might as well enjoy it for what you have. Live every day and every moment like it's your last. And love life, man. Love life. Because it's a beautiful thing. Because we can concentrate on all the bad. But the earth has so much beautiful gifts to offer. Things to see, things to taste, and things to hear. Things to enjoy, to contribute to be involved in. Look for those beautiful things, man. That is what's going to give you a stress-free life. And that is what's going to give you comfort. So what we got going on here, man? What is the deal? So we're going to start the show and get it going. All right. I got my water. Hold on a second, y'all. Actually, I have iced tea. That's another thing. I've been drinking a lot of iced tea lately. I like iced tea. I like it cold. And after that, I'll get some water. All right, so what's been going on? What has gone on last week? Since up to this point that I'm actually recording the show. Killer Mike, man. A lot of people are upset with Killer Mike because he met with Georgia Governor Kemp, and they are not appreciating the fact that he crossed the political line. He went from supporting Democrats and being that Democratic face, a representative of, and now he's going over to the Georgia Governor Kemp saying that there's a photo op and yada, yada, yada. Look, I am not knocking Killer Mike. I am actually going to support him because knowing his background, his history, he has never failed us. He hasn't done anything that would put hip hop or put black people in less than glorious light. I think he's of sound mind and body, and he's making these choices definitely for the betterment of the people. And why can't you do that? F that. We're not going to be held to Democratic. I don't think black people should be the face of the Democratic Party. I don't think they should be the face of the Republican Party. I think they should be the face of themselves and get what you can from either party. So it doesn't matter to me he'll explain it to the masses when he's ready. And I would meet Governor Kemp myself and sit down with this dude and say, hey man, how you doing? How more than likely have a beer and we will work some things out. All right. So yeah, man, I don't really care. I'm not really held, and Killer Mike is not held to any party. He can do what he wants. So we'll see how that goes on. Doja Cat, I don't like really talking about her a lot, but when she does come up and it's interesting to see what I see, I will talk about it. But Doja Cat is not beefing with Nas. Look at that. Doja Cat, she was on a show with, I think she was speaking to, Fat Joe on his show. And she had no ill will towards Nas on what he said about her on Ultra Black. She actually loves him, that she said. And I guess she learned from Iggy Azalea beefing with... I guess she learned from Iggy Azalea, you don't beef with the OGs in hip-hop. So she was like, well, I'm not going to go that way because you know what happened to Iggy. Ain't nobody supporting Iggy like that, man. Really? You know what? Who's Iggy? I haven't heard no music. And, you know, every now and then she gets on a website and they're showing her in scantily clad in a bikini or something and talking about music. And I'm like, is she really relevant anymore? I don't think so. I mean, I'm like up front, she's a beautiful woman. And you know, that's how she gets on these websites. And I'm like, man. And what are these websites that she gets on anyway? They're on the periphery. They're on the outskirts of this hip hop culture, and they have no equity in the culture, man. So I guess Doja Cat learned that don't go the way of Iggy Azalea and just pay the respects, because Nas is a griot. He's a mastered, iconic, well-established griot that carries on the culture. And he knows his value, and hip-hop culture knows Nas's value. So, yeah, Doja Cat is going to stay in pocket. So the NFL started back last week, and I forgot the name of the teams. Oh, man. Because I haven't really... Now, I'm not saying I haven't watched football because of the whole Colin Kaepernick thing. I was actually first teams for NFL joining hands. I forgot the name of the teams. So I forgot the name of the teams. Jeez. I forgot the name of the teams. Hold on, I want to get the teams here. And you guys by already, you already know. It was the Houston Texans linked arms with the Kansas City Chiefs in one of the first games of the NFL season. And of course, you already know by now, but you know I'm going to always give my 2 cents. So they started to link hands, you know, to join arm in arm to show support and unity. And in the crowd of people, they were booing. There was a number of people booing. And I'm like, who the hell is booing? Who the hell is going to be against racial unity and respect and love and understanding and recognizing the pain of what a particular group of people is going through and showing that camaraderie, showing that symbolic unity? You gotta be you a straight demon, yo. You a straight hater. You're well seeped, or how should I say? You have taken on the face and the heart of the devil himself. That's how I see it, because why would you boo? Now, this is how I see it for people that boo. People, racist people that boo, that are booing equality, sees equality as taking away from their privilege. Understand what I'm saying? So they're fully aware of their white privilege. And for people to stand together in unison and understanding that we as American people should have equality amongst each other together, somehow takes away from their privilege. So they understand it. One, they understand it. Two, that means if they understand it and don't mention about it, so that means they're trying to hide their privilege. And three, that means they're fully ensconced, if that is the word, in their racist privilege, and they are not budging on how they have benefited from white privilege. I use the word right. So these are the people that we are looking at that don't give a damn. And you know what? It was posted on Facebook, and I go straight to the comments, and I'm scrolling through the comments. And if you could see some of these comments that I saw about the booing that was happening, the people that supported the booers, they were saying, no, you are not. First, it was like, you're not American. They're not American. Who are they to protest? Who are they to do these things? You're there for entertainment. That's all you're there for. You entertain us. All you do is throw that football, and that's what we're here for. And if you're going to do that, we're no longer going to watch it. That's why we don't watch the NFL. That's why we watch college football. And if college football does that, we're not going to watch that either. We're not doing it. So I'm like, damn, the hate, the straight hate for what they saw. And this is a problem with America. And as a player, and you're watching it, you're witnessing that, white and black, you're like, wait a second, y'all booing? We didn't do nothing crazy. We didn't do a violent protest. As what they say. We didn't do anything that was disrespectful. We didn't even kneel. We was just locking arms just to show symbolic unity. And you booing because of that? There's a part of America that is well aware of their racism and hug it like a warm blanket. Understand what I'm saying? And as a player, you're watching it and you're experiencing it, and you're like, yo, the fuck is wrong with y'all? I'm not here for your enjoyment. I'm not here for your entertainment. I'm a human being. Yes, I play football. Yes, I'm good at what I do. I love what I do, but I'm not going to take everything else and put it in a box and put it away to make you feel comfortable. I'm not here just to toss around a ball. I have flesh and blood. I have feelings. I relate to the people that's going through the struggle out in America right now, and I want to send a message. No, I am not a toy. There's no Hasbro on my back. There's no Hot Wheels under my foot. But this is how they see you. They see you with object. They see these players as objects and nothing more. Interesting. We're gonna have to drag these people into the 21st century because this ain't happening no more. So if anybody got a problem, kiss my black ass. Kiss my black entire ass. If you feel you gonna come off like that, crazy. My whole entire black ass. Anyway. 2 Chainz and Lil Wayne got a new song out called Moneymaker with representing 2 HBCU bands in the video. Go in and check it out. I thought that was super dope. Yeah, I'm with it. I did a slight pause because I was going to say something, to criticize it, whatever. But I sometimes I don't always want to criticize our folks because. You don't want to just look. I'll criticize when I'm ready because sometimes as an artist you could do something and you're just trying to do music and everybody's taking pot shots at you or taking shooting off the bow and he did something. You can never do something right, so I want to avoid that. But big ups to them. The one criticism that I will say is it would have been dope if they did at the end of the video support HBCUs, donate to this one particular fund, and it'll be distributed to all the HBCUs in America. I thought that would have been dope, but they didn't do that. But anyway. So yeah, they got a song out. Check that out. T.I. was charged. Interesting enough, T.I. was charged for playing part in the role of promoting and making money off of fraudulent cryptocurrency scheme led by his friend by the name of Ryan Felton. Is interesting, along with 5 other dudes. So the what do you call it? The shit. Let me see. I'm sorry, because I was supposed to write that down and I didn't write that down. T.I. Cryptocurrency. The organization that deals with the regulation of the SEC, Securities and Exchange Commission. My bad. So they're charging T.I. with trying to make money off this fraudulent cryptocurrency and spending money on homes and jewelry and all these other luxury goods, whatever like that. I think the cryptocurrency was called Flick and CoinSpark. and his friend was running off and doing all types of things with the dough. So they charged him $75,000 and for him not to get involved with any cryptocurrency for the next 5 years. So we don't know the details of it. I would love to see if T.I. would talk about it. I don't know if he wants to talk about it, but it'll be interesting to know, because what's wrong with what he did by promoting cryptocurrency? So who knows what the details is. All they're saying is SEC charged him. I would love him to come forward. Maybe he'll talk about it on this podcast. Maybe he did. I don't know. But I saw that article, and hey, I still support T.I., man. Big ups to T.I. Naomi Osaka, she wins the U.S. Open for the second time, beating Victoria Azarenka. And who was there to support her but YBN Corday, or more so Corday. He cut off the YBN because he's not rocking with the group YBN. Shout out to the young brother, man. I love this dude. He showed crazy support for Osaka, and he was wearing a Defund the Police t-shirt. You know what I mean? Staying on it. Well, that's one thing I like about Corday, because he's a young rapper and he does his thing, but he's also not stupid. He's on point with his, so he knows what social ills that black folk is going through, and he's gonna fully support what we need to do in order to move forward in this country. So the thing is, even with Naomi, she was doing a lot of different things in representation of everyone that died of police brutality. She had the names of the people that were killed by police on her face mask. Everyone, you can see that online, and she actually laid down. I don't think at the moment they understood I saw the video clip where you had the sports people talking about Naomi, and she laid down on the tennis court face up, and they had that top shot from the camera. And what she was actually doing, she was replicating the picture of Sandra Bland, the black woman that was killed by police, mysteriously died at the police precinct, and they released this photo of her shot. What do you call it? What do you call it? The photo, the criminal photo, the mugshot. The mugshot, and everybody was curious about it, because it was like, why does her shoulders look like that? Because when you're standing up, your shoulders come down to a slant. It pitches down. But the only time where your shoulders are square is when you're laying down. The body has time to rest on the back. So everybody's saying, wait a second, that picture was taken after she was killed, and she's laying on her back, and they forced her eyes open. She was already dead, and it was, I say it's demonic, because there's no other way where you can describe the nature of these crimes. It's something out of, what's that movie with Keanu Reeves, and he's a lawyer, and he's the son of the devil. Son of the devil. I think that's why I love the internet, man, because if you can't remember these movies, you could just do a quick click of a couple of keys and you can find out what's going on. It was Devil's Advocate, man. It was straight demonic, and the most evil, depraved behavior that is happening to black people at the hands of these particular police officers, where you could take a picture of a dead woman and release it as if, yeah, that was a mugshot, she was alive. I'm like, no, she was dead. And the world and the United States knows it. So big ups to Naomi Osaka. Beyonce is set to play a character in the next Black Panther movie. There was an article that came out. You have to do a little soul searching with Beyonce. I love Beyonce. I am number one. I love her joint called Black is King. But when they said that she was going to be more so, they was actually, before this article that I read, they were saying that Beyonce was, they're looking to place her as Storm. And I was like, no. I was like, no. I was the same way when they were talking about Ben Affleck being Batman. Because when they said that Ben Affleck was going to be Batman, and I'm going to say this, when they said right after, I just want to let y'all know my feelings of how I felt. because I'm a comic book fan. I'm a comic movie fan. And when they said Ben Affleck was going to be Batman, I was like, Ben Affleck? Because all I could think of was Daredevil, and that was a trash movie. That was so trash. Trash with a capital T. All right? Trash. And when they said that he was going to be Batman, I was like, what? And it was just me. The entire world, the entire DC fandom was in agreement, and he was like a collective. Yeah, that's how I felt. But I will say that when he did Batman Justice League, I was like, oh snap, he really did a good job. So I know what you're gonna say. If you were mistaken about Ben Affleck, you could be mistaken with Beyonce. Now, Beyonce, let's get back to Beyonce. I think she's an okay actress. I think Beyonce, when she does her thing, from the professionals and for the people that is really critical of that particular art form, I think Beyonce gets a pass because she's Beyonce. You know what I mean? I don't think I feel like she can't fully sell the character she's playing across camera. I still see Beyonce, but there are a lot of actors that are 100% actors that was their job. They played that different roles the same way every way. I'm like, So yeah, sometimes maybe I can be a little bit overly critical, but I'm especially overly critical when it comes to black roles, because sometimes it's so messed up, the roles that are given to black actors or the lack of. When you get important roles, you want to make sure that they're done right. So when I hear about Beyonce coming in as what do you call it? When Beyonce comes in as Storm, I'm like, no, that's not how I picture Storm. And I never liked Storm, even back then when they would draw Storm, the character, that she had like long white hair. I'm like, wait, she's African. Why does she have long straight hair? Nah, man, she from the continent. What the fuck, man? I never liked that, even when they had X-Men on the cartoon when I used to watch it from back in the day. So I'm like, yo, why don't they just give it like braids? If it's white, give it braids or something like that. You know, switch it up. So when they did Black Panther, and reading up how Ryan Coogler wanted the movie to be, especially RIP to Chadwick Boseman, how he wanted to play the character, especially he wanted to play the character. From what I understand, reading what Chadwick Boseman, they didn't originally feel that Black Panther T'Challa would have an African accent. And after the fact, I was like, what? Of course he should have an African accent. He's from the continent of Africa. And where Chadwick concentrated on getting the accent right for T'Challa. So Beyonce, if she is going to play any character, because it's rumor right now, I understand, but if she ends up playing Storm, she's got to do two things. She has to work the hell out of this role, and I don't want to see Beyonce. I want to see Storm. That means she has to get the African accent right. And the other thing, of course, you're going to say color. And initially, I'm not going to front, that kind of triggered me. I was like Beyonce, because I'm going off the first movie of Black Panther. But I'm like, yeah, and there were some light brown sisters in the first Black Panther, played a back role, but all the major characters were dark skin, brown to dark skin. So if she plays a major main character, I'm like, but yeah, I understand. Some South Africans, or not even some South Africans, a lot of South Africans. Now, there's not one particular facial phenotype to Africans. They say Africans have the most diverse DNA genes, genetic pool than any other race on this planet. And understanding, because they're the first people on this planet, no doubt I get that. So you have dark-skinned Africans, but you have light-skinned Africans too. So they're both equally as African. It's not just being light-skinned doesn't take away from their Africanness. So I could dig that. I get that. I get that. So I'm not even stressing that. But however, you got to get the hair game right. You can't come in with this long flowy hair. Nah, it's gotta be right. If you are gonna come from the heart of Africa, your joints she gotta cut it off, yo. I have never seen Beyonce without her. Now she gotta get on Solange game. Solange done cut off the hair and showed her natural curly kinky 4C. I want to see that with Beyonce. I ain't never seen Beyonce with her shave it off, take the wig pieces off, take the, what do you call it, the lace front off, take the weave out, cut your joint. You want to be taken seriously as an actress, like how a lot of actresses get down, and actors, shave your joint off for the role. Shave it off. Shave it off. Beyonce, if you listen to this, man, shave it off. If you're gonna play, I don't even care if you're not playing Storm. If you only gonna play a Wakandan untouched by colonial powers, forces, that means you're all African. And if you're all African, you got to cut it off. Cut it off! Cut it off, man. Come on now. What do you think, Beyonce? Are you up for the role? And you could talk to your sister Solange. She could give you some pointers. And I know, some emotional support. It may be hard to let go. It may be hard to let go. You can do it, Beyonce. So let's see what happens. Let's see if she can pull it off. And she can't slack. Don't use that being, well, I'm Beyonce, so nope. Because I'm going to get on it, and a lot of other people are going to get on it. Nope. I want to see all Wakandans. I want to see a shred of Beyonce in that role. Okay. Last but not least. Okay, guys, voting time. We argue. Everybody has difference in opinion, but of what to do with voting, but it is upon us. Voting is upon us, and they're saying there's a couple of different things that you can do. And I say for my New Yorkers, you can do absentee voting, you can do early voting, which I just discovered, and you can do, I guess, contact your county and you can figure out upstate New York what you need to do to get your early voting information. All right. So absentee ballots, you got to put in the mail ensuring it receives a postmark no later than November 3rd. 2, drop it off at an early voting poll site between October 24th and November 1st. 3, drop it off at a poll site on November 3rd by 9 p.m. And 4, drop it off at your county board of elections office starting at September 8th until no later than November 3rd by 9 p.m. That's for your absentee ballots. And I suggest you guys go to ny.gov early-voting-absentee-voting-mail-or-drop box. And you can, that's the link where you can go and get that information. And there's early voting. New Yorkers can vote early for the November 3rd 2020 election. The early voting starts on October 24th and runs until November 1st. There are 9 days of early voting prior to election day. Go to your county district or precinct or whatever like that to learn the time frames. Let's get it in. I just might do early voting because I'm concerned with these mail-in ballots and how the USPS is trying to fuck the game up. So I might show up early. And don't be surprised if it's going to be heavy even in the early days leading up to November 3rd. So I say go at the peak time, right before work or whatever the case, and throw in your ballots. Okay. All right. So we're gonna get to some music now. What first few artists we got going on? Okay, we have, and I want to make sure her name is right. And you can say, no, but why didn't you get her name right the first time if you wrote your notes? Because sometimes I can make mistakes. I am only human. Okay, let's go to Beau. There you go. Her name is her name is Imani Beau. Because I wrote down her the reason why I'm looking at it and I recognize it. I wrote down her IG handle name, but her real name that you can look up on iTunes and any digital downloading is Imani Rankin. Her song is called HMU, Hit Me Up. And following up behind Imani Rankin is Slim Mucho. And his song is called Sincerely Mucho. So listen to Imani Rankin. She's coming right out of New York. I think she's coming from Queens, actually. No. I think she's coming from Brooklyn. So listen to her, man. She has a great voice. I love her voice. HMU hit me up, and Slim Mucho coming up with Sincerely Mucho. All right, we'll be right back, y'all. All right, peace.
Ooh, a GCOM exclusive.
Baby, you're my favorite love. I could never trade you for another, I swear. I would never change a hair on your body, on your head. So won't you hit me up, call my phone, send me a text, show me some love. I'm sending you the kissy face, wanna see what that body do. I just wanna see you. Hit me up, 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 hit me up. Yeah. No pain, no gain. I love it when you bite it. Call me your baby. Make sure it's slippery, slippery and savory. You do all the right things by yourself. I don't wanna see you with no one else. Oh no, baby, you've got me through, got me coming back for more. Nobody has to know. So won't you hit me up, on my phone, send me a text, show me some love. I'm sending you the kissy face, wanna see what that body do. I just wanna see you. Hit me up, 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 hit me up. Take me to the room, I'm ready. I know you like it when I call you daddy. Put your hands on my body, rock steady. Rock, rock, rock steady. You make me come like confetti. Hit it twice in the back of the Chevy. Another bottle of Azul, I'm deadly. Cut it up like machete. Baby, don't quit, don't stop, please. All on my lips like 50. And I swear that I would never change a hair on your body or your hair. So won't you hit me up, call my phone, send me a text, show me some love. I'm sending you the kissy face, wanna see what that body do. I just wanna see you. Hit me up, 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 hit me up.
What it do?
It's GCOM Radio
I am one of the flyers.
on iHeartRadio.
Here's a message to my unborn. It's a cold world, even when the sun's warm. Only put our hands up when they guns drawn. They simply don't feel us. They wanna put 3 in our chests like the hiccups. Young, black, and gifted, and they still judge me. I could give a damn as long as my daughters love me. Bridges burn, you can hear it in my cadence. Tell a man the truth, he quick to say that you hating. They think it happens overnight. Nah, it takes patience. These women come forth, family God, then it's paper. Never judge before you love. Guilty before innocent when you the same color as us. German engineering when I steer it. Always run directly towards it, even when you fear it. The stress get heavy, especially when you near it. I'm talking about your goals, and when you feel it in your soul, you close.
Hey son, you are the best thing that could have ever happened to me. November 11th, 1987. I am so proud of you and all of your accomplishments as a dad and a provider. You've been a great son.
Made my own way, I don't need no handouts. Tell a nigga no, now he not your man now. The hate start showing, you hear it in they quotes. Niggas be confused, claiming that they woke. 2020 luxury, whip with the bucket seats. Love out to everyone who stuck with me. From the mud and fuck with me. Gotta love Brit, cause she rode and she love a G. And she stayed down, that's what's up to me. Doing 60 and a 45. I'ma need a clone just to count up all these blessings. Real niggas in the drought. Kept it 100 when these niggas couldn't count. Evolved from the boy, always was the man. Nowadays these boys popping perks, popping Zans. So I gotta move smart, do it with a plan. Teach my daughters do it for themselves and never for a man. Damn.
Tough loving like son. Sorry, Dad. I missed talking with you this evening. But I wanted you to know, from the day that you left Newark, New Jersey, 2007, you left as a young child. Today, you are a grown man.
This is GCOM Radio, powered by Lyfeblood.com. Come join, be a lifer. Practice dollar power and build financial independence.
So what are we gonna get into in this segment? Oh, wait. I always seem to forget, like, in these, I've been doing this for so long, I'm just running. I want to run into the topic of the segment, but before we get into the segment, you know what we got to do? We got to do business of the week, and this is special to my heart because I went out to a restaurant with the fam, and I'm like, yo, this food was amazing, and that's what we're gonna talk about. Some great food in the heart of BK Brooklyn. All right, you know what it is, BK. Shout out, Brooklyn, love you. All right. Check out this business of the week. All right.
Ladies and gentlemen, for that
Bringing you the business of the week and its innovative founders. It's what you've been waiting for.
The story begins. It was a cool, clear night in a Brooklyn neighborhood, and the goal was to have a great meal at an unknown restaurant. Will they succeed in finding a place to visit on a regular basis? Only the stomach knows. The restaurant I speak of is Brooklyn Prime. It's a place where they serve an assortment of drinks, alcohol and non-alcohol, and Caribbean-infused cuisine. It started out great with a welcoming waitress by the name of Olivia. She was kind and open to offering great selections on the menu. I had brown stew red snapper with saffron rice and mixed green beans and sliced carrots on the side. The saucy juices were sublime and the sides were freshly balanced with the right seasonings. In addition, I had a hot side of cheesy, crispy, panko-encrusted topped mac and cheese. My kid had a cheeseburger, 100% grass-fed beef, with prime hand-cut fries, delicios. My wife had a succulent salmon burger. Oh, and I can't forget being blessed with the lemon-peppered sorrel chicken wings as a side. Oh my God. All of this washed down with a fresh mango juice and a shandy ginger beer, which they had in a variety of flavors. All of this while listening to hip hop, reggae, and soca music. Yes, each bite was a challenge. I tried stopping even when I was full. Lyfeblood.com would like to salute Brooklyn Prime for giving what the community needs. Good food, friendly atmosphere, cool drinks, right in the heart of Brooklyn. Cheers to the chef. Okay, all right, so we are back. That was Imani Rankin with Hit Me Up and Slim Mucho with Silly Mucho, man. Real dope song. Two dope artists. Yeah, so what do we have going on here? You know, I didn't even have time to get my water. I did not get my water, but that's all good. I'm going to get my water after this segment. So what are we talking about for this segment? Yeah, all right. So this is very interesting to me. All right. So I ran into this article, as I always do when I try to look up for topics, and there was an actual situation that took place even in real life when I was talking with this brother. Last week on the show, I was talking about this young brother that we were going over hip hop and tech and social media sites and all these things. But in the midst of us talking, we had a situation where we were interrupted by a homeless guy. homeless guy, and I'll get right back to that conversation. So the article that I was reading was a lady by the name of Maria Lopez lives in a Harmonia hotel or a temporary home for the past 2 years. And I believe she got thrown out or relocated. When COVID started, the city decided that they wanted to move homeless people out from crowded shelters and into other temporary homes to give them a little bit of space, right? Because of COVID, and trying to control the spread. So initially they were moved into the Hotel Lucerne on the Upper West Side. Now, after complaints, the city moved them again into Harmonia, where Marie Lopez lived. And I guess is where Midtown East. And because of them relocating these homeless people, 150 shelter families that already lived there, they had to move out. 17 families were already, at the time, I guess 17 families were already transferred out, and one of them was Marie Lopez. And the people, of course, feel like they're, again, just trash or discarded items that could be moved anywhere, and there's no real compassion or heart on how they're dealing with people and dealing with the overcrowded issue when you're dealing with COVID and trying to have some sort of distance in between people and trying to slow the spread. So there was a protest. There were lawyers out there. There was a senator out there that was on the news talking about that they need to cease and desist. We're relocating these families, and the city has to find a better way on where, or a better place to place these homeless people. So it was a big hoopla, and it was an actual article that came out to say that, I don't know if this is connected, I'm not so sure, but believing that there were rich people that were upset that homeless people were being moved into their neighborhood and devaluing their property value. And there were some issues with peeing and vagrancy, and the rich folks were getting upset, and they decided to move out, and that was a separate article. And they were moving these people into empty luxury hotels, of course, because nobody is staying in the hotels right now, because it was like, stay where you're at. So the hotel industry is suffering. And of course, with all this empty space, you might as well use it, right? So the people didn't like that, so they had to deal with that. Some left already, and the city was like, all right, we'll relocate these folks. And I don't know if these two stories are connected in any way, but they relocated these people to keep the rich people nice and satisfied. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine that as being a more of a well-off individual in another tax bracket, not complaining, not talking about the well-being of people, but more because, oh my God, I can't get my latte because this guy he's oh my God. Now, you know what? I understand to a certain degree, because if your neighborhood's a certain way, all of a sudden you have some vagrant dude that's pissing on your block, and now your corner or wherever you're at smells like piss. I get it to that point. But in no way where the people that were interviewed were talking about the well-being of the homeless people and say, hey, this is what you can do. All you got was them complaining, we're moving out, and they was like, fuck them. They can't move around me. Okay. So that's why I had a problem with the article. So now it goes back to that conversation, as I said at the beginning, that I was having with that young brother, and we were interrupted by a homeless guy. Now, I saw this guy a couple times. It's over there on East 125th. This guy was wearing some high water slacks with a trench coat, a beat up trench coat. He had lipstick on and beat up sneakers, and he just walking up and down First Avenue on East 125th, going by, and I seen him from far away I'm like, yo, wow, look at this dude. And then when me and this brother was talking, he actually came up, he was passing over, and he was trying to have a conversation, but obviously he's mentally unstable, so he wasn't making any sense. This guy was just talking gibberish. So I'm letting this guy, talk for like at least, I guess, 2 minutes went by, and my man, when it was standing next to me, was like, oh yeah, okay, cool. So I finally was like, okay, this ain't going nowhere. He really doesn't have nothing to say. Have a good day, sir. That's what I said to my man, and I guess it clicked in him, and he kept it pushing. and he went away. And the conversation shifted to what I'm talking about right now: homeless people. What do we do about the homeless problem? What do we do? Now, I don't have any problems with people that are poor. I don't have any issues with homeless people. I'll talk to them on the corner. I don't care. Hey, what up, bro? What's going on? How you doing? Cool. I bought food for homeless people. And that's all I'll do. I've had people, homeless people, come up to me and they'll ask for yo, can I get something to eat? And I'll give them something to eat, but I won't give them no money, because some homeless people got drug addicts. I'm not gonna feed your habit. Fuck out of here. I'm not gonna do that. But what I will do is give you food. And what I will do, if there's a way where I could get you clothes, that's what I will get you, because that's what you need the most. But I'm not gonna feed your habit. And I got a couple funny stories over the years. I'm sure people got some homeless interaction stories themselves. I had one dude was actually being crazy picky on the food I was gonna give him. I took him to the Chinese food store because I hate when people stand by the bank. I hate it. And so the dude, I came out, he was opening the door for people. And I was like, damn, man, homeless dude open the door. Because look, I'm dealing with money. I got to deal with you. I don't know what mental capacity you on. If you're all there, you know, I don't know. So that's just New York way of thinking. Like, you're always gonna stay on your P's and Q's. So the dude, when I was leaving, he opened up the door. I was like, oh, he said, yo, can I get this killer? I'm like, nah, bro. And what am I gonna give you, bro? I'm going into the bank getting large bills. I have no small change. I'm going to the bank to get money. That means I don't have any hard cash. And most of the time, 95% of the time, I don't use money. I use card, all right? So if I'm going to the bank, it's for something, because I don't have hard cash and I need it for whatever I need it for. So I'm like, nah, bro, I ain't got no money. So the dude's like, yo, could you at least get me something to eat? So I'm like, all right, I'll get you something to eat. I'll do that. So right next door, literally right next door, was a Chinese food place. So I'm like, all right, look, dude, I'll go get you some Chinese food. Come with me. We'll get you some. So we walk into the Chinese food store. The dude on the other side of the bulletproof glasses is waiting. I'm like, all right, bro, pick what you want. This guy, this dude standing there like my man was in a cordon, in a cordon bleu, Shea Chinese, Shea Ho, like, yo, the Shea Golden Harvest. I'm like, yo, my man, yo, pick something. Look, pick something. He was like, should I have a number 2? No, I don't want no. Yo, this dude. So I'm like, yo, my man, pick half a chicken wing. No, I don't want. I'm like, yo, B, I'm just, okay, look. Pick number 4. You get that. You get the. All right, cool. Thanks, man. Can I get this drink? Fine. Just take it. Here the money. Boom. Here. I'm paying for this dude. And I walked out. And guess what? Dude didn't even say thank you. Nothing. All he was like, he kept it pushing, waiting it there. I said, I gotta go. Peace. He didn't say, yo, thanks, bro. Yo, thanks for the meal. No. So, you know what? If you don't know where your next meal is coming from, you best to thank the person that's getting for you and taking their time and their hard-earned money to give you something. So that's how I'm like, yo, this dude, that's crazy. But, you know, I'm not saying all homeless people like that, but there are a lot of homeless people that I'm like, damn, sir. The behavior seems like the community takes care of him, and it got to the point where it was like, all right, you gonna get it from me anyway. I'm like, what? Motherfucker, I ain't got to get you shit. Yo, you can go to the corner store and get yourself like a candy or something like that for 50 cents. Oh man, that was just crazy, man. This dude got his food. I'm glad his belly full for that time. That's what it was. But sometimes it's a little bit more than giving somebody a fish. You know how the saying goes, give a man a fish, he'll eat for a day. Teach a man how to fish, he'll eat for a lifetime. And I'm more concerned with, what do we do about the homeless situation? Now, over there on East 125th, it's crazy. So you crossing over first, you go on the second, you go on the third, you go on the fourth. You have a crowd of homeless people walking up and down, because what happens is a drug facility where people can, if they were having heavy withdrawals, they could go to this facility on Randall's Island and get a quick fix so they can ease down. So after they get their fix on them, they take the bus, go down there, get their fix, or whatever you want to call it. They jump back over to East 125th, get off, and they just mill around for the day. There's no place for them to go. No place for them to go. So, and some of these people have mental issues. So some of these people are walking up and down the block, talking to themselves, yelling to themselves, or just sometimes maybe they got their next hookup on the street and they ain't trying to wean themselves off. They trying to look for their next fix. So you got people leaning. You got people just milling around. Now it's sad, man, because you have hardworking folks, the working class that live in East 128 in Spanish Harlem. And then all the while you going about your business, you got your kids, you going whatever. You have to deal with the unknown factor of someone that could be mentally unstable and could possibly attack you. Not all of them. Usually, most of the time, when people are mentally unstable or questionable, they're really just by themselves. They don't really mess with nobody. So you have the working class just going about their business and going to the store, going to, coming in and out, doing about their business. But then you cannot ignore the fact that we have an ignored section of our population in the New York City population that are homeless, that need help. What do we do with the homeless issue? Now, I'm not trying to be the rich people where they're just saying, oh my God, take them away. Oh my God, they're bothering me. They're pissing. Yeah, I understand there could be quality of life issues because you have vagrants, you have homeless people, but you have to be more humane than that. Okay, what do we do about the growing homeless problem in New York City? And it's the same thing in LA, where you have, they got a bigger homeless issue on Skid Row in LA. And that's one of the reasons why Joe Rogan moved. I get because of, things are going crazy. LA is overcrowded, too expensive, and you're dealing with COVID. And then plus you have a growing homeless problem, which the city's really not handling. It's just kind of kicking the can down the road, and they're just letting the people just exist. Now, as far as New York is concerned, I'm talking with this brother. I'm like, how can we deal with the homeless problem? And we honestly we're talking to each other, and we didn't have at the moment, we had some ideas, but overall we did not know how to deal with the homeless problem in New York City. I think there's about 65,000 people that are homeless in New York City. And now some of these homeless shelters are brimming over the top to the point where some homeless people don't even want to be in the homeless shelters because they feel they're safer on the street than in the homeless shelter. So there are some hardworking families that are just down and out of their luck trying to find a job. Things happen, and then you have women that turn out homeless and they have kids and they have to deal with all this. I knew firsthand of a woman that was dealing with that, and she worked and everything like that, and she was making the best of what her situation was. So after the fact, I was thinking, okay, what can we do for me, myself? What is the best way to deal with it? And I don't think once you sit down and you think hard enough, it's really not that hard. It's really not that hard. And I wrote down the list. 1, you set up programs for homeless recovery and reinsertion into society. Some will need lifetime support because of the mental conditions that they have. But we have to kind of separate the people that are just down and out in their luck and the people that have some hard, straight up cases of mental instability. And they do say, I know the city would say, well, we have these mental hospitals and such and so forth. But there are still people just out and about in the street with issues that need care. And not just people with mental issues. I saw one dude I was driving through New York City, and this dude, his whole leg was swole. And not shout out. This is to all my New Yorkers that travel on the New York City train system, going to work and coming home and about your business. How many people have you seen that are homeless that are sitting on the waiting area chairs in the station or on the bus, and they for some reason their leg is swole? I've seen it. It's disgusting. I don't know if it's gangrene or their leg is infected in such a way where the whole leg is swollen. And one guy when I was in the car, tied a handkerchief around, I think above or below the knee, and you can see the swelling was cutting off the circulation to his leg because he tied it a certain way, and you can see it looked like it was ready to burst out of that tight handkerchief on it. It was tight, but it's because of the swelling. Crazy. So people need medical care. Okay. So you need to build housing, and you need, for those that are down and out, job training. You got to do something. Now, I'm not expecting them to be on Wall Street tomorrow, but somewhere where you could get them on the line, balance them out, get them seeking some sort of equilibrium with the real world if they're drugged out on a slight mental disability. If people that are down and out, give job training, something or other, so they can get a job. And medical assistance if they need it, whether it's mental health or actual medical assistance if they have an issue, a biological issue. All right, so you need housing, job training, and medical assistance. Now, the next question that you have to say, okay, housing, job training, okay, medical assistance. All those things we kind of loosely do, right? So then a lot of people will say, like those rich people, oh my God, where are we going to put these people? Oh my God, where are we going to put these people? And a lot of people, even middle class people, say, where let me be fair. Even middle class people like, kind of like, I dig where I'm at. I don't want no homeless shelter around here. I want no people. So I just want to dump it on rich people. A lot of people think this way. So this is my thought. Why don't you take, because we have a lack of space, and this is New York City. It's also money game. This is a money. Yeah. Every inch is used to make money in some sort of way. So you can't just give it to homeless people. Okay, so here's an idea. Upstate, we have a lot of real estate upstate, right? A lot of real estate. And there are a lot of failing counties, small little communities that don't have industry and they're failing. And you have people just, they're moving out of this neighborhood, they're moving out of the county. This county is like it's teetering on failure. So this is what you do. This is what the city can do. This is what the governor can do. In working with the mayor, you get all those homeless people, right? Or a number of them. You create these programs. Go to a failing county where you can build cheaply. It doesn't have to be super expensive, affordable housing that's going to be supported by the city estate, all right? And along with those affordable housing, you also have medical facilities that can help people that are mentally unstable in various degrees. For the people that are really messed up, they could be housed in certain medical facilities. And then for those that just need, they're slightly off, then you can have these medical facilities, R&D, research and development. You can have doing mental health research, because some people can be great. I don't want to say subjects to make it seem like people are objects, but you can take people's mental condition and use it to have better treatment, whether it's psychological or having drugs or whatever the case may be. You can have them in these counties. And it can be where the latest knowledge can be developed coming out of those small counties for the rest of the United States or for the world. Because you just have these counties they're just half burnt out, half empty. You might as well take this home. Now you can not only solve the issue within where these people are going to go within the city, but now you have a particular town that could be used to help people get back on their feet. Understand what I'm saying? It could be 5,000 people, 10,000 people, 20,000 people. And now people don't have to worry about the vagrancy because you have the homeless population in a hotel literally right next to a residential building. So now it's kind of controlled. It's in this county. You know where people are at, whatever the case may be. And when people are feeling better and well, they can come back down south into New York City, or go into another county where they can be, I don't know, a mechanic or a whatever, blue collar job that they can get. And also you have to have preemptive solutions for the homeless. where before it goes in, everything that goes into homelessness, lack of jobs, proper healthcare treatment, temporary financial support for current housing, we have to be able to cut it off at the pass. And that goes along with having these counties and make sure that people, right before they become homeless and lose everything, there should be some sort of agent that can help people along, that before it gets to that bad and they lose their homes, we can cut it off at the pass and give people the help that they need, so they just don't lose everything. You have people just walking around and they're drugged out and everything like that, making their situation worse. Next will be reduced police involvement in mental health emergencies. Now, there's two situations. There's a mentally ill, there were mentally ill individuals that were killed by police. The one was Nicholas Chavez. He was shot 21 times to death in Houston, Texas recently. And you have Daniel Prude, who was killed in upstate New York because of his mental issues. They put a spittle bag over his head and they choked this dude out, suffocated him. And that happened on March 30th. The only reason why this was a recent uproar is because the footage finally came out of what happened. And of course, rightfully so, people protested the ill treatment and the eventual death of Daniel Prude. Now, police are not trained to deal with this. However, it's more than a lack of training, because when there's mentally ill white folk, for some reason, these people get arrested and detained unharmed. But when it comes to black folk, or when it comes to Spanish people, all of a sudden they need to be shot down like dogs. So obviously, it's not a matter of training. These are personal issues that these people have. These white cops that are racist, of course. And they feel like, well, nobody's going to care about you anyway, so I might as well get my rocks off and come in my pants and shoot you down like a dog and kill you and see you squirm on the ground. So it's a little bit more than training. It's punishment also, that you can't end any situation with filling someone full of bullets. So there needs to be some sort of agency that deals with medical emergencies, mental health emergencies, where they can de-escalate the situation with the help of some other people that can they can make sure that these people come home without any problem. There's one thing I thought, and I don't know. This is a wild thought. Why don't the cops use tranquilizers? This is just a random thought. Why don't they use tranquilizers to render a person unconscious? They have tasers, and he said with Nicholas Chavez, by the way, all the cops that were involved with that got fired. They said they used bean bags and they used tasers and they couldn't get the guy down. So they said, but we use okay, whatever. How come they don't use tranquilizers? Like the most, not to the point, they say some tranquilizers, there can be, look, they say that some tranquilizers, there can be some kind of, allergic reaction to it, and they can actually die. We don't know. But there are people that have died from using the stun guns, right? You try to use some stun gun and it didn't work. There are people that died from that. The shock stopped their heart, right? So nothing is 100% safe. So why don't they use tranquilizers? It may not render someone fully unconscious, but literally just drug them out and they fall out to the point they just get woozy and weak. So now the cops could come in, or some sort of enforcement team, if not the cops, could come in and detain this person without harm, and for them to come out without harm. These enforcement people. So I'm like, I don't understand. So it's just a thought. I'm like, how come they don't use that? And lastly, altogether, how are we going to come up with the money to do all of these things? How are we going to do this? And I say this simply, and they're going to hate me for this: tax the rich. Oh my God, I hear and see these CEOs right now. They listen to this show and they be like, oh my God, tax me. I know you got to tax the rich, but I'm talking about the extreme rich. A portion of those taxes will go towards these programs that I speak of. Now I say, let me just give you examples. Let me just talk about the annual revenue earnings of the top earners. Walmart made $514 billion in 2019. $514 billion in 2019. If you take 1%, just 1% of taxable revenue, it would be $5 billion. Correct me if I'm wrong, people. Right? Is that right? That would be more than enough to fund the homeless problem. More than enough to fund the homeless problem in New York City. Let's go down the list here. We have ExxonMobil. We have Apple, the top 5 earners. I'm talking about the billions of dollars. The top: ExxonMobil, Apple, CVS, Berkshire Hathaway, United Health, McKesson, and Glencore. Okay, who's United Health? Everybody knows United Health. They're healthcare. They work within the healthcare industry. Everybody knows United Health. Doesn't that go hand in hand with the health of homeless people? Shouldn't their revenues be taxed to go towards homeless people? McKesson, they offer healthcare products and insurance services in the medical field. Shouldn't McKesson be willing to cut off and shave off a portion of the billions that they make to go towards the mental health, the health and safety of homeless people in New York City? We can also deal with the LA problem, the homeless problem in Los Angeles. Interesting. Get out of here. You have Glencore, a UK multinational with an office in St. Helier, New Jersey, dealing with minerals, energy, and other products that they ship from nation to nation. Interesting. Top earners, I'm talking about in the hundreds of billions of dollars. If you tax the ultra rich, not to the portion where you're talking about, oh my God, you can't tax me all this money. Even if I'm saying as an example, even a fraction, a sliver of the revenues that they're making on an annual basis can literally fund the homeless problem in America. Why are we acting like we don't know where this money is going to come from? Why are we acting like it's like damn near cutting off your arm to help the homeless issue in New York City? It's not like we have millions of people. There's how many people in the United States? 350 million people in the United States. We're not talking about 150 million homeless people. We're talking about 60,000 people in New York City. That is so doable. And I think it's about double that in Los Angeles. That is extremely doable. And it doesn't have to come from one multinational corporation. It can come from 10 or 15 and you can get a sliver. You could single-handedly fix the homeless problem in America. But we're letting these people just survive and walk around like living zombies, and then people are upset because it's not being done right. Now, my thing is, let's just say there were no rich people, as far as I know, that were interviewed because they were mad homeless people were milling around in their rich neighborhoods next to in these luxury hotels next to their residential buildings. Now, how come you don't hear any rich people talk about this? How come? Because they have the resources and the means and the connections. But you never hear rich people. Let me tell you something. If I'm making $500 million a year consistently, and somebody say, hey man, we got a serious problem here, this is getting way out of control, can you we're working on, take, if you don't mind, 1% of your billions of dollars that will go towards the homeless problem, we gotta, it's getting, I would not have a problem with this. It's not cutting into my revenue. It's not cutting into the shareholders' revenue, their profits. It's not cutting into any of the stock options that all the employees have. So I don't know where this is coming from, but we can't deal with this problem. Man, it's crazy. And I laugh because sometimes that's all you can do, because it's so absurd and so ridiculous that the top 5 or 1%, they're just looking around like totally clueless. I don't know what to do with the... these people just don't know how to handle themselves. It's their personal flaws, and you're upsetting me. I'm trying to take a bath in my golden shower and golden shower. Usually that's what rich people do, right? They into weird shit. So yeah, my golden bath, I'm sitting on my gold toilet. You're just bothering me. I don't have time for this. Gertrude, we have to go to, yes, I need my silk handkerchief for my showers. Please. Gertrude. Kip. There's this homeless Negro milling around the outside. Oh my God, I can't. I'll just call security, the front doorman. All right, really? He's actually asking me for food. And all the while, you got a big ass refrigerator. You got nothing but turkeys and salami and some I don't know, some, what do you call it? Special, that oh my God. There's some special water from the Andes Mountains that you just came back from Tibet. Okay? With all your fine foods that you have. You got a long ass table, dining room that's fit for 40 people of your closest family and friends. You don't know which car to take. Oh, wait a second. Which car to take to jump on your personal private airplane that's going to take you to your boat, your 100-foot boat. Latest technology, I add. There are some fine boats out there. Fine yachts. You know what I mean? Really? Man, well, your kid goes to those fancy private schools right in the heart of Manhattan with their knee-high socks and their plaid skirts and their navy blue pants with the shield of the rich school your kid goes to, and he has to pass by these fragrance. Watch yourself, Kip. Mark, be careful. I want you to be safe. Jeeves, take him to school, please. I'm such a New Yorker. I want to make sure that my son and daughter is fine. They have everything they need, the amenities I have to offer. Right to private school. Please don't make those vagrants get close to them. I'll pick you up later. Get the fuck out of here. Yo, I be driving up and down the east fucking side. I know what it is. Shit. I know I can tell old money from a mile away. Okay, I used to work at Borders Books and Music on 57th and Park. And man, I can tell them snooty rich ass people, oh boy, at old money. I'm talking about they sitting on those generational wealth. You know what I mean? Up and down Park Avenue, Madison Avenue, First Avenue, 2nd. Generational wealth. These people don't do shit all day. They go into the bookstore and they read and they sit down in the cafe and they read all day and they go home. Or if they have companies to run, they're on their laptops just clicking away at those keys, drinking their latte, all right? Their caramel mocha lattes. And they're just looking out the New York City streets and watching people walk up and down and seeing the homeless. Look at this homeless beggar, this vagrant, you know what I mean? And that's all they do. And they go home in their, what do you call it? 25,000 thread Tibetan silk sheets. Yeah, man, that's fucking crazy. And then they don't have no answers for homeless people. And that shit is not going to change their quality of life in any way. In all the assets that they have owned, the millions and millions of dollars in assets, they could get together with their rich friends and be like, all right, listen, man, let's just toss. You know what I mean? Our companies, we can sit down, we can have a homeless problem. We making dumb money. And don't even think about the offshore money that they ship off to, the billions of dollars they make, and they have these offshore accounts just fucking just hoarding all this cash, untaxable cash, right? Now I'm all for reasonable tax rates, corporate tax rates, right? Well, what's a little shaving off the top to help some people, man? $1 billion each from each company, especially if you're making over $500 billion a year, right? I think those points that I talked about with homeless people is very doable. Yeah, so that's what I got to say about the homeless problem. Let's see if we can spark a conversation about that with all the ultra rich in this ultra rich city that we live in, this New York City, the Big Apple, right? Okay, so We're going to go into the next songs of the show. And we have, I say, Nyah Lavina with her song Escape. We're going to get a little reggaeton. All right. So I don't play a lot of reggaeton because I just don't bump into it. I don't know why. But Nyah Lavina is a young lady just starting out. It looks like she's just starting out her career. And I like the song, and I just figured I'd give her some attention. Her song is Escape, and right behind that, we have the bonus song that we haven't played in a while. This brother's name is Martin Luther Richardson Jr. His song is called Intellectual Flow. So let's listen to this brother. It's Nyah Lavina with Escape, and Martin Luther Richardson Jr. with Intellectual Flow. Okay, I'll see you guys on the next come around on the last segment. All right, peace.
Me escapé para encontrarte, así que dime dónde estás. Nuestro tiempo se mide y voy a seguir donde vas. Me escapé para encontrarte, así que dime dónde estás. Nuestro tiempo se mide y voy a seguir donde vas. Yeah. Vamos a la playa, es mejor cuando es de noche. Nadie puede ver a nadie. Baby, perdóname, pensar tanto que ahora sé que no amo verte en persona. No sé cuándo te veré otra vez, así que vamos a hacer algo salvaje. Te vamos a quedar, ya te toma la fiesta de la calle. Bailar en la agua, muéstrame lo que me falta. Te vamos a quedar, ya te toma la fiesta de la calle. Bailar en la agua, muéstrame lo que me falta. Escapé para encontrarte, así que dime dónde estás. Nuestro tiempo se mide y voy a seguir donde vas. Me escapé para encontrarte, así que dime dónde estás. Nuestro tiempo se mide y voy a seguir donde vas. Estoy tan contenta de que respondiste. Espero que nadie nos atrape porque no quiero volver. Qué rica, qué noche bonita, con bebecita, tantas oportunidades. Qué rica, qué noche bonita, con bebecita, tantas oportunidades. Me escapé para encontrarte, así que dime dónde estás. Nuestro tiempo se mide y voy a seguir donde vas. Me escapé para encontrarte, así que dime dónde estás. Nuestro tiempo se mide y voy a seguir donde vas.
Y'all check it out, y'all. Here's a bonus. You heard it before.
Yeah.
Here we go again. Serving that heat.
That tornado.
GCOM Radio.
Intellectual flow, intellectual flow, it's intellectual flowing, intellectual. We change the game. Give me peace of mind. Give me peace of mind. Go. Give me peace of mind. Freedom. Give me peace of mind. Flow. Give me peace and I'll never change. Intellectual flow, intellectual flow, it's intellectual flowing, intellectual. We change the game. Give me peace of mind. Give me peace of mind, go. Give me peace of mind, freedom. Intellectual, whoa, intellectual. We change the game. The way they static, coming through your attic. I've been pumping through your speakers like this was craftmatics. I mix art and mathematics. Young scientist, I'm really active. focus, don't chiropractor. Flow so hard we break backs. While y'all boys slipping in position, I'm really trying to get it on the road to the riches. Trying to stack my millions, build it up like man Samosa. While you in the game and y'all boys abusing, my boys is grinding, we really producing, making magic every hour. Respect come first, then the money and power. Never gonna hate, never gonna be sour. Conquer the globe until the globe is ours. Worldwide, cause they trying to devour. Young ghetto brothers in the streets for hours. Young ghetto sisters in the streets, they wildin'. Cops gunners down cause they racial profiling. Crazy, I can't maintain, losing my focus, never losing my focus, never giving my hope up, but giving my hope up, cause at the same time, man, they out here controlling us. Crazy. Intellectual flow, intellectual flow, intellectual flowing, intellectual, we change the game. Give me peace of mind, give me peace of mind, go. Give me peace of mind, freedom, give me peace of mind, flow. Give me peace and I'll never change. Intellectual flows, intellectual flowers, intellectual flowing, intellectual, we change the game. Give me peace of mind, give me peace of mind, go. Give me peace of mind, freedom, intellectual, whoa, intellectual, we change the game. Could you imagine if you was magic, moving through the city, no limits like you were Latin? You are the patent, you are the first and the ending, you are the new everlasting, so keep it classic, very necessary. On top of the game, man, it's very scary. I'm the new Barry Gordy of this rap thing. The rap game kinda crazy like the crack game, but I never deal crack before. Never sold drugs to a black man before, but somehow I'm still breaking the law, cause I'm giving you these 16s, that's way too raw. A made man with a made plan, young king from the mother's land, and way beyond. So whether you're Christian or Muslim, we gotta get along, cause we all one. The same light from under the sun, the same dust from under the dawn, the same water from out of that pond, the same bullet from out of that gun. We'll attack a nation, so watch what you say, young, and watch who you play, young, and watch what you're doing, cause if you ruin your community, then you're done. Intellectual flow, intellectual flowers, intellectual flowing, intellectual, we change the game. Give me peace of mind, give me peace of mind, go. Give me peace of mind, freedom, give me peace of mind, flow. Give me peace and I'll never change. Intellectual flows, intellectual flowers, intellectual flowing, intellectual, we change the game. Give me peace of mind, give me peace of mind, go. Give me peace of mind, freedom, intellectual, whoa, intellectual, we change the game.
Okay, that was Nyah Lavina with Escape. And right after that, we have my man Martin Luther. I'm thinking of King, my bad. And I have to literally look at the name so I don't say King, because I'm Martin Luther Richardson Jr. with Intellectual Flow. Both artists that you got to listen to. I encourage you to go to their Instagram profiles, check out their music, and buy their music. No music streaming. Please buy their music. All right. And you just make sure you buy their music. No music streaming. You buy their music. All right. So before we get into this segment, we have to do the news you need to know.
Ladies and gentlemen, around the world and right in your neighborhood, it's the news you need to know.
Trump sets eyes on a 2024 run. At a presidential rally last week, Trump states that he plans to attempt another run for office in 2024 if he wins this election. After a rally in Minden, Nevada, he says, quote, "we'll negotiate," unquote, continuing that he's, quote, "probably entitled to another 4 years after that based on, quote, the way we were treated." He said this before at a previous rally in Wisconsin in August that he's pushing to do another 4 years after this election. Trump would have to topple the 22nd Amendment based on presidential term limits ratified after Franklin D. Roosevelt served 3 terms. He would have to get a 2/3 majority from both houses of Congress and have 2/3 of state legislature call a constitutional convention. Experts wonder why COVID virus infection is low in Africa. At the start of the coronavirus pandemic, many medical experts stated that because of Africa's condensed poor cities, the population would be extremely susceptible to the widespread infection of the COVID virus. They even said South Africa, with its most developed healthcare system, would be overwhelmed. Well, that doesn't seem to be the case, and it has baffled many medical professionals. Initially, the thought was the young age of South Africans. Some say it could be the warm weather, and others speculate it could be the altitude of the area. Scientists at Vaccine and Infectious Disease Analytics Unit at Baragwanath Hospital in Soweto feel a more viable theory is some form of pre-existing cross-protective immunity. To prove this theory, they plan to analyze 5-year-old blood cells stored in freezer units acquired during an earlier influenza vaccine trial in Soweto. Scientists are hoping to find evidence of people being affected by other coronaviruses and has built up a resistance to this virus. Unfortunately, the vials have been destroyed by a malfunction in the cryocontainer's freezing process. At this point, scientists are hunting for new samples to solve the mystery of the lack of the virus spread in South Africa and other African countries. And that is the news you need to know. All right, so we're here. Whew, man, it is blazing, but it's all good because I don't have any of the AC or the fans on because I don't want any of that. Let me tell you, this mic picks up everything as you've probably heard. It picks up everything. So I'm hot. All right, so in this last segment, I just had some thoughts of what I saw on going about my social media running around. So I saw a video by DJ Pete Rock. Shout out to Pete Rock. And he does a lot of great stuff on his profile, man. Shares a lot of great information of artists, but, of things that are detrimental to the art form, hip hop, of course, and how, that we have to be aware of outside forces that may not have hip hop's best interests at heart. So he shared a video of Crazy Bone. He was at some radio show. I don't know. It didn't say anywhere in the video. But he was getting interviewed at a radio show, and he had a letter that was written by an ex-music executive it came out in 1991. No, excuse me. I don't know when this letter came back, but he was referencing to a situation that happened back in 1991. He didn't say the name because the man wanted to be anonymous. He was in the music business for like years. He said he started in 1988, if I'm correct. And by 1991, when he was heavily into the business, he was made aware of a secret meeting. He was called into a meeting and he had to sign an NDA along with a lot of other music executives that this meeting was called by a bunch of no-name people. They had no idea who these people were. So they sat in on this meeting. They asked people to sign the NDA. And they went on to talk about what they were called for. Some people didn't like it. Some music executives left. Others stayed. This particular guy, he did This particular music executive guy, he did stay because he was curious to find out what exactly this meeting was about. So he went to go ahead and sign this NDA. And then the men started to talk, saying that, they're privileged to be a part of this meeting, of this small gathering. And they were asked to do, here we go. They were asked to promote certain artists that spoke about violence through hip hop to be signed and put as the face of hip hop so they can make money. Who are they? They, meaning the people that own the prisons. The people that own the prisons across America, so the individuals can, I hit a button by accident. The individuals that are influenced by this violence in hip hop, gangster rap, would be influenced by it and then want to do those same things out in their neighborhoods. Getting into criminal activities, which would eventually lead them into getting locked up. So let me say again, they were told to sign and promote artists that did gangster music, that had violence in their lyrics, in their music, so the kids who listen to it will be influenced by it and hopefully would get into criminal activity in their neighborhoods, which in turn would have the police arrest them and fill up the jails. Now, this is not the first time I'm hearing this. Over the time, I've saw videos from Scarface and Wise Intelligent from Poor Righteous Teachers. Wise Intelligent it was an old rap group that hit their height in the 1990s, and they were like a pro-black group, on education and knowledge and the people in the communities about black identity. And they hit their peak in the 1990s, but they're still around. Wise Intelligent, I think he's a teacher now. Wise Intelligent, but he spoke about how the same way there's certain people in the music business that was encouraging negative music to come out and for these artists to be signed and for them to do all types of craziness, so it would get black folk in particular riled up in those communities to be influenced by it, in turn to do craziness. They didn't want to promote wholesome music. All right. So this is nothing new. I've heard of this before. Now, is this particular letter that Crazy Bone is reaching kind of like Willie Lynch? Willie Lynch was a guy that was talking about how to treat your slaves, and it came back in the 19th century. It was released. And people argue that there's no such thing as Willie Lynch, but the idea of how to condition your slaves was a very real thing. And it could be applied to how black people are treated today. And you always use the Willie Lynch story as a means of how outside forces or systemic racism will try to control black people in America. Now, is this kind of like the Willie Lynch story? I don't know. I don't know if this is a real letter, but the fact is, because other rappers have said it, the veterans have actually said that they were privy to information that would lead to the demise of hip hop culture. I do not doubt it. I don't even have to believe that this letter is real to know that I would not doubt it. That there are forces outside that really don't care about the advancement, the positive advancement and growth of hip hop music and culture. I think people have to understand I always wanted to do this rundown. I had my theory, all right? But I wanted to get my ducks in a row before I addressed it, and I never did. Maybe this is an opportunity for me to do that for the next show, to kind of like give a timeline of how black music was treated in America and how it has shifted the overall message of the music, and to understand which artists get more attention than others. So maybe I'll do that next week and I'll think about it. And that'll be something that I got to sit down and kind of like hammer through. But just for now, just say that as far as black music, there's always been like a hate relationship with the music business. And not hate love, but hate relationship with the music business. Because historically, black people have always been treated as object, as everybody knows, with the black American experience in this country, starting with the transatlantic slave trade. Now, some of that behavior, some of that thought process has been hard to shuffle off. In some ways, it hasn't been eliminated, but only transformed. It's become more sophisticated. Words have been changed, the behavior, certain ideas have kind of taken on a new life, but essentially it boils down to the same thing, where it's talking about the exploitation of the black body and mind. And the music business has always been about exploiting the creations that come from black people. And that's something that we always have known since black people have been doing a thing with the big band. That's why I want to do this thing as far as the history of black music and how it's been treated. It's always been there. And back in the days since segregation and Jim Crow laws and in the 50s and 60s, the most famous black artists still had to go through the back of these hotels and these venues, even when they were the headline artists at this particular venue. So there's always been an obvious difference in how black artists were treated as opposed to the white artists. Now, fast forward into the late 1970s and 1980s, hip hop initially, and I'm going on from how I understand coming up in this business, and I'm glad that I'm at the age I'm at, because I can come with my own personal experience of what I've read, what I've listened to, what I've watched on how black music was treated in America, in the music business. And as hip hop was coming of age in the 1980s, and we had a lot of artists that were doing their thing, and that was mostly regional in New York. When the news shows were talking about this new art form that was coming up in the streets of New York, it was mostly kind of shuffled off. Okay, that's just, it's a fad, it's a passing fad, it's really not going to grow, it's not going to be anything. It's just a couple of black kids and Spanish kids that's just making the best out of their situation. It's really not going to go anywhere. They're doing this funny dance, and they're putting together words that rhyme at the end, and it's really not going to go anywhere. But little do they know, it was the beginning of a global force. And it grew in the 1980s, 1985. And this is the time where they weren't playing any artists, black artists or black music on MTV. MTV was the channel of music television. And I want my MTV. That was the music channel that you wanted to be on, but they didn't play. They didn't even play Michael Jackson. They didn't play any Prince. And I think the first artist black artist that got played, their video that got played on MTV was Michael Jackson, actually. The king of pop. He was actually the first. Can you believe this guy didn't even get played? It was just kind of rock and roll music, hair band period, all that stuff, the older stuff. But Michael Jackson broke the mold, and correct me if I'm wrong, any music historians out there. So all of a sudden, hip hop started to grow, and it became big. It became bigger and bigger, and it was going to other cities, and it was getting around. And all of a sudden, the music business people were like, oh my God, there's money in this. Because it's just not coming out of New York. We got people from Miami. We got people in North Carolina, up and down the East Coast, up and down the West Coast. Even places where hip hop was kind of like just getting in there, with touching, like especially in Texas. It was just touching. But people were getting a hold of these young black kids that were having a good time rhyming these words and singing and dancing and doing things that were specific to the culture of hip hop. And it made its various growths through the city as the years went on, as the decades turned over. So black music has always been co-opted, it's always been usurped, it's always been sabotaged and intentionally poisoned. Now, they know the music business people, they had nothing to do with hip hop, was like, hey, I'm coming in here, I don't know, but you guys are making a lot of money. Let me get a hold of that. But they didn't do that out of respect or love of the art form. They did it because it was making money, and it would be foolish of them as business people to avoid a cash cow. That's why you had a lot of record companies come in where they had no, these people just like totally had no idea what this music is. They just went and say, hey, I'll sign you, I'll give you a little bit of money, and then we can make some money. But and a lot of the groups that we consider icons and legendary in the music culture now, they were exploited when they were young in 2019, 2021. And Jay-Z kind of actually was like, spoke about it in his raps. I forget how the line go. I'm getting back what you didn't give the Cold Crush. If I'm messing up the line, but I'm paraphrasing. So it has always been treated as an art form that can make money, but also not be valued, because they didn't come from that culture. They didn't come from those people. Now, there are a lot of times where actually urban music has saved the record business, have saved the music business. And sometimes they were the driving force behind how a lot of record companies was making their money, when a lot of these pop groups weren't making any. So they were forced to go to the black music, these black artists, and say, man, fuck, I gotta get some money. All right, what are you guys doing? All right, let's do that. And all the while, you can see how the influence was growing. And then I guess there were some people in these offices that was like, man, fuck this. And you could just picture it, because the interactions that these black artists would have with the management, would have with the record label execs, it all tells, you can all extract the words, what they really thought by the way they treated the artists. And it's like, yo, fuck this. I don't want this. And by the 1990s, that's when hip hop was like really the force to be reckoned with. But in 1995, when it was like Bad Boy and it was really kicking off, and it was West Coast music hopping on, and Houston, hip hop from Texas was coming through, and everybody had their thing that was bubbling. By the time it was Biggie doing his thing, that's when it was in the full throes. That's when it was rock music that was crossing over into the hip hop genre, because they were like, at that point, it was like hip hop was everywhere. It was like, you want to make money, you got to go to hip hop. So let's do this, like this rock rap hybrid thing. Let's make some bread. And not all rock artists were like that, but a lot of them respected the art form, loved it from its beginnings. Because you remember in CBGBs, it was a lot of the punk rock cats and a lot of the hip hop cats that was going to CBGBs in New York, and they was befriending a lot of folks, mixing up. So the people that understood the humble beginnings of these rap artists in New York City streets kind of respected it. Correct me if I'm wrong, music historians. Please correct me if I'm wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong. But as hip hop was coming to beat, it was like, oh, by Biggie, by Bad Boy, and then you had West Coast with what's their names? Death Row Records. It was like in the full throw. It was like there. So there was no turning a blind eye or ignoring the behemoth that hip hop was. And it was still not as big as what it is today. But the record business could not ignore it. But they hated it because they didn't want to be a part of it. They just saw it as making money. So of course, by the time that you have Crazy Bone in 1991, this meeting happened. At that point, that was when it was like really coming up. When you could not ignore hip hop. So I wouldn't be surprised if these high level record execs sat down with possibly people, agents from the prison industry, was like, yo, let's get some money out of this. And what way to give like kind of like a backhanded slap or a backhanded compliment to hip hop by the music business working with hip hop by saying, man, fuck this. Let's do some gangster rap, man. Yeah, let's do the most over the top, crazy gangster rap. Shoot 'em up, shoot your mother, shoot your brother. Fuck these women, making baby mamas out these women, and we'll make this money. Yeah, we'll make this money, right? I can see that. I can see that. Because that's when KRS around, let's say, turning into the 90s, KRS-One was going out, Poor Righteous Teachers was going out, all the righteous stuff, Public Enemy was going out, and they got into the other like really hardcore rap, and it was going in, right? Because that quote unquote at the time, it wasn't making money. And then you have the radio business, of course, and the radio business still follows this format, whether you had only the top 10 songs played back to back to back to back to back to back to back. Only probably 5 to 7 to 10 songs that was getting heavy rotation on the radio. And then where it was pay for play, and he was paying, these record labels was paying these DJs, yo, spin this record, spin this record, spin this record. So it was very controlled. So you had an underground community that really believed in the culture of hip hop, is what you say is backpack rappers. And then you had where you crossed over into the pop world, crossing over the pop world when the record labels was really giving you money, and then they were paying these radio stations to play your song. When you was underground, you had no money, so you had to kind of go the extra long way and build a buzz in these clubs where you was doing these open mics. Remember open mics? You don't see open mics right now. This showcases, and I'm not talking about COVID, I'm talking about in the last 5 years. You don't really see open mics anymore, where you would build your artist buzz, and then that's how the A&Rs came out. So there was kind of like a system that was put together, right? So now you got this new generation now, and I say the new generation as far as the last 5-7 years, something like that. The new generation that really don't care that they're coming from poor communities. They don't really care. They just care about the money they're making. They're going through the same thing that when the OGs, when they were young, that they were coming from poor communities. But to me, I think there was a more connection to the culture. But because there's so much money and they see that hip hop is such a global force and it makes so much money, it's kind of like taking a beeline into the bank and be like, yo, I want to get this money. I don't really care about all that, but I just want to make this money because I see my man making. Prime example, Young Thug. when he was asked the question, I forgot the question. I think it was at the BET Awards, and he would say, "Hey, what you think about black? Whatever the issue was with black people, what did Young Thug say?" He didn't really have an answer. He couldn't really articulate himself. And what he said, well, I just want to, weigh my baguettes. I just want to get my diamonds. That's when it was like, oh my God. You can't really, because you expect the artists that you support will support you from the communities that they come from. If there anything that happens in these communities that's unique to these communities when it comes to social ills, when it comes to any one of the issues that I've spoken about on numerous occasions, you think that they will back up, even if they could not articulate it in a way that they can connect with their fans message wise, and so there could be that bond and an understanding between the artist and the audience, even if they couldn't fully articulate it to open the eyes of their audience or get the agreement from the audience. At least you can have a general understanding. Hey man, I understand police brutality, or I understand this. This dude was like, man, I just want to weigh my jewelry. I just want. So he was totally sold out to the game. It was nothing about fuck that. He want to make his money. Yeah. Oh man, it was so sad, man. It was so sad. But not every artist is like that. I respect the youth. I respect the new people coming up. I love, and I wish the game was more like the artists that I like. But a lot of times they still kind of squeak in a hard, that shit. But it is what it is, because you can't, in some ways you cannot regulate how an artist expresses himself. So I would love, and the industry is the forefront. You do have like Kendrick is at the forefront of the business. I love this dude. And again, I didn't initially buy Kendrick on his first album because I thought it was going to be the same old street hustle type of shit. But then I slowly came into him. I was like, oh shit, this guy's on another level. This guy's the next level. So Kendrick, and you have Chance the Rapper, Tyler the Creator, Earl Sweatshirt. I love that with Odd Future. I think this dude is at the forefront of what hip hop music should be. And he doesn't get enough spins. He doesn't get enough attention. That was before his latest album. He was just, to me, how I understand it, he was just thought of as this quirky rapper, whatever case. You got Vince Staples. Love the old Kanye West. Not the new Kanye West. Not the Kanye West today. From the first 2 or 3 albums. That old Kanye West, my man was really pushing the envelope to the music that he was creating as a producer. Artists that I like today, Trippie Redd. I love the sound of Trippie Redd, man. A$AP Rocky, Travis Scott, Kid Cudi, Joey Badass. Love J. Cole, can't forget him. I love Race Remembered. I love the vibe that they give. And I like YBN Cordae, as I said earlier in the show. But Cordae, he's not with YBN anymore. But I love what he's about, man. Not just that he's a nice lyricist, but he's just more than his music. And you can see that by how he carries himself outside the music. And to me, the hustle has continued from how the music industry treated black music, as I said before, especially with these terrible deals and how these new artists would get hustled with these contracts, and these contracts was just slave contracts, man. And that's just not hip hop. That's in general the music business. If artist, and I kind of understand the way the music business is like, why am I going to dump all this money into you? I don't know if you're going to be highly successful. As I said, most artists don't become these huge mega artists like Madonna and Kanye West and Jay-Z and all these artists. No, a lot of them are just blue collar, hard working dudes. Because, for instance, Redman was never a platinum artist. He consistently went gold on all of his records. Consistently. Now, musically, artistically, this man is out of this world. But he has never broken that line where he's gone into platinum status. And he's totally accepting of that. He's cool with it. And I love Redman regardless. So most artists are, as what I call blue collar artists, that make their money by putting out records and do their thing. They don't necessarily do like 100,000 or 50,000 stadiums, whatever. But they are some hard workers from New York to LA to around the world. They stay on their grind. So now it's kind of transferred into this new hustle. And as I say, with the new hustle, where they underplay the value of music through music streaming. And I said that on the last show. So the hustle always transforms. It always transforms where you think that there's an opportunity for artists to take more control of their music, but then slowly these artists don't understand the plans that are happening behind the scenes. They get taken in by the smiles and the hugs and the arms around the shoulder and these photo ops and, you know, I'm really for you, and they go for the okie doke, but really they're just trying to, again, exploit the music. And I think music streaming is the latest technology when it comes to exploiting artists of today. They don't, and at the end of the day, they don't want to share it. And I think that they don't want artists to be financially independent because they see hip hop as a global force today, but they can't actually assist artists from being more independent because then, they can't control it. They can't control it. And they don't want to lose the fact that these people will actually take control of their music and get the bitter or the chunk of the split when it comes to the music that they push out there. They can't allow for black artists to have full autonomy from the music business because that's essentially what hip hop is. Hip hop is a global force, and the people that have created the music, the lyricists, the musicians, the producers, the managers, the road managers, everyone involved are the future leaders and business owners of hip hop music. And they cannot become irrelevant. These major music record labels do not want to be irrelevant. So they will always try to find new ways to constrict, to hold down, to chain the progress of hip hop culture and hip hop business. They have to be in control of that. And people, that's why they say, for the longest, the excuse was for the last, 20 years, I've always heard them say, well, you know what? Hip hop is for the youth. It ain't really for everybody else. It's a youth culture. It's for only the people that are young. And what? I was like, wait a second, wait. And even back then, I wasn't going for the hustle. Because I was thinking, why are they saying that? Why are they saying that hip hop in particular is a music genre that is only for the young? And by the time you reach a certain age, you are invalid and you are no longer relevant. How and why are they saying this? You know why they're saying this? Because I'm like, you go to rock music, you have people well into their 40s and 50s still touring heavy, still touring heavy. They going like Mick Jagger. Mick Jagger is a dude that, what? Man, listen, what is, what group was Mick Jagger from? People help me out here. I don't do live shows, because if I had a live show, people would tell me what group that Mick Jagger came from. The Rolling Stones. I should know that. I'm sorry, y'all. I knew that. Mick Jagger from the Rolling Stones. And Mick Jagger from the Rolling Stones has been going off since 1960s. And Mick Jagger today, well, not today because of COVID, but let's say pre-COVID, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, my man still tours where they want him. And if you want it, he can still make music and do his thing. I'll release a record, okay. It may not be as big, as the current artists of today, because, the music changes. But nevertheless, they will always allow Mick Jagger to get what he wants so he can release a record. They don't do that with hip hop. By the time you reach 30, they're trying, well, back then, 5-10 years ago, they were trying to say, no, it's music for the youth. The reason why they say that, because they want to be able to take advantage of you. What do the youth have? Inexperience. What do the youth have? Lack of knowledge of how the music business functions. You can take advantage of the youth way quicker and faster and better than you can somebody who's been in the game for 20 years. After a while, people get hip to the game, especially when they start to become successful, and you can no longer trick them. And these people are they want to take the lion's share of the profits that are coming from hip hop music. That's why they were saying, oh, hip hop's for the youth. Yeah. You don't know nothing at 21, 22, 20. You don't know how to do that. You're just happy to get into the business. and they give you that advance money, all of a sudden you think that's the world of my shit. That's the most money you've ever seen, ever in your life, because you just started living. Understand what I'm saying? So all of a sudden, everybody's saying hip hop. It's like, what you talking about? What do you mean? And they're saying the same thing I was saying. I'm like, you got Mick Jagger and all these old school dudes is still doing their thing in the music business. Gray hair, still taking photo shoots or photo ops with the music executives, and you see these fantastic articles written on the next project of these OG rock and roll dudes. But then hip hop got to stay fresh, stay 21, 25. And you got to get the fuck out of here. You're trying to take advantage, because as you come up in the hip hop music, as you come up and you understand the game, even if you don't do music hardcore anymore, what happens to these veteran artists? They become the executives. The managers become the executives. The road managers become the executives. All these people start becoming the head executives of the new labels. And that would be future competition. This is talking about getting the lion's share of the money all of the time. Now, because of technology, that has changed. Now they have no choice because of the internet, because of music downloading, as I said in the show, a number of different shows. So they have no fuck. All right, let's be a partner. Especially how information travels now. They want to be looked at as a sucker, right? So they go ahead with it anyway. Because now, if you're doing some fuck shit, right, you could lose your position, your social position in society. And then eventually, and it's the same thing that happened back in the day, but it was a lot more controlled in the 1980s, even at let's say pre-digital era. Pre-internet era. Now with the internet, you do fuck shit today, the world gonna know about it tomorrow. Understand what I'm saying? So people are a lot more careful of how they move about in the music business. So they gotta be careful. So I'm encouraging the artists of today, and this is where we build the bridge between the older generation and the new generation, where we work together and say, listen, we had our time. Now it's time for you to be in front of the camera. Do your thing, but let's take care of your business. Let's take care of your business. And eventually, you will be the future executives. This is where hip-hop has to stand alone and control its destiny. This is where we have the people, we have the Jay-Z's, we got the Scarfaces, we got the KRS ones, if you want, so throw his name in there. They're supposed to be the executives today. And we control where this music goes. Because it's done so with rock. It's done so with rock music. When something is detrimental to the society and people bitch enough, let's say, for lack of a better word, you got the masses bitching, because they was bitching about Marilyn Manson. He hated his devil music, as what they called it. And what happened to Marilyn Manson? That fool disappeared. So they have no problem of getting rid of cats that are detrimental to the greater society. Trust me, you get enough people beefing, people will listen in the music business. But when it comes to hip hop, people beef, it is what it is. So that you got to understand that hip hop is just like the hip hop urban clothing companies of yesteryear. Let's say Rockaware. And I talked about it again on the show. When Rockaware was sold, the people that we was sold to didn't care about the culture, didn't care about what it meant to the culture, and let that shit die. Sold off until it eventually disappears. That's the same thing with hip hop music, hip hop culture. These people will give these record deals. If you hand it right over to them, they will use it and squeeze out the last bit of blood out of it, and they will discard it like an old pair of shoes. And if it dies, it dies. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I say when it comes to hip hop. We got to be real careful of how that music is done. We got to be real careful of where this music goes. And for the people that are today that's taking hold of this music, we got to make sure that these are the executives of tomorrow. And the people that's been in the game for the life, because hip hop is old, it's like 40, 50 years old. The people that are the artists of yesteryear, they're in the positions of knowledge, in the positions of resources and influence. They are the executives today. Let them start those companies on the internet. Let them get where they need to go. And then make sure that the music is not treated like it's some $5 hoe. You know what I mean? So that's how I feel about that. Anyway, all right, guys. Thank you for listening to me on this show, tuning into these artists. I'd like to shout out all those artists that was on the show today. Shout out to Imani Rankin, Slim Mucho, Nyah, Lavina, and also my man Martin Luther Richardson Jr. For coming back and playing your song on the come around on the show again. So go, as I say, always go to Lyfeblood.com. Be a part of the community. If you really like what I'm saying, you really connect with the subject matter, if you really feel that we need to take more control of ourselves within the hip-hop culture and all people around the planet, please join, be a part of Lyfeblood.com, become a lifer, sign up, get people on the network, and ask for just one simple $1, man. So you can help live your passion. You can help. Now, imagine if you were a store, and quick before we get out of here, imagine if you were a successful business that has a brick and mortar store, and all of a sudden COVID comes along, and all of a sudden your business is cut down by 50%. And you don't know how you're going to pay for the lights. You don't know how you're going to pay for your employees. You don't know how you're going to move through as we go through this dark moment of the COVID. Now, if you were part of Lyfeblood.com and you would ask your patrons for just a minimum of $1, since your business has been in existence, imagine getting, say you have 100,000 people following you, and you all ask for them for $1, and then COVID hits. You'll be okay. You can weather the storm. For one single $1 from 100,000 of your followers, it can help you weather the storm, this COVID storm that we're going through. So you can see how it benefits you as a business, not just as an individual, but also as an entrepreneur. So I encourage people to become lifers, sign up, be a part of the social media platform, because there's a lot of things that we're going to get into that's going to be more than just benefits for the individual and for business owners. This is about building a new social order, a new society where we can seek out the best of ourselves and humanity. That goes for all people, regardless of who you are, your culture, your ethnicity, whoever you are. That's about building it. So please be a part of Lyfeblood.com. Yes, thank you again. Thank you for listening. Much love. Take care of yourselves. Take care of your family. And we shall see each other next week. All right. Peace.
Check it.
You just listened to GCOM Radio, powered by Lyfeblood.com for the global community.
We worldwide, baby.
See you in the next go round. From right here to your town, we out.